Thank you, Howard. And now it's time for your weekly Lawyers on Call. Today's segment, 12 News' digital content manager Matthew Benninger is with Coughlin and Gerhardt. Take a look.
Today I'm here with Rachel Thomas, who is a special counsel with Coughlin and Gerhardt at their Montrose, Pennsylvania office. Today we're going to discuss the Pennsylvania inheritance tax and real estate. So Rachel, to start, what exactly is the Pennsylvania inheritance tax?
So in Pennsylvania, there's inheritance tax owed on property owned in Pennsylvania by anybody, whether or not they live in the state of Pennsylvania or not. And it effectively acts as a lien against the real estate. It does not go away, and it must be handled.
Okay, so what if someone lives out of state, but they own property in Pennsylvania? Does the inheritance tax affect them?
Yes, absolutely. Anybody who dies owning real estate in Pennsylvania is required to pay the inheritance tax. And a lot of times out-of-state owners do not know about this, and they just don't know to file it. But what happens is eventually when they go to sell the real estate, and this may be decades later when someone in their family realizes it's still owned, it'll come up as an issue. It'll have to be addressed.
Yeah. Can you go ahead and tell us how that's calculated, the inheritance tax?
So the amount of the inheritance tax is based on the value of the real estate. Right now, the Department of Revenue of Pennsylvania accepts 3 valuations. You can either get an appraisal from a certified appraiser, or you can sell to a bona fide purchaser. That means somebody who's not related or interested in the transaction. Or you can use a tax assessment, which is on everyone's tax bill, but it does need to be multiplied by a common level ratio, which again is set by the Department of Revenue.
So what if the real estate is staying in the family and there's currently no plans to sell it? Does that family still need to file and pay that inheritance tax?
Absolutely. And what happens in these situations is a lot of times the families don't worry about it, or again, if they're out of state, they just might not know about it. So it'll just sit there. But it operates as a lien against the property, and it's indefinite. So whenever somebody goes to sell it, even if it's 20 years later, you're going to need to address and handle the inheritance tax issue. And by that time, penalties and interest are accruing. We do have some exemptions that will help keep the tax low, especially if it's like a large farm tract or really anything over 10 acres. But most of those are contingent on filing timely, which is 9 months from the date of death.
So Rachel, what's the most important thing that people should take away from all of this?
I think the most important thing is if you or a family member owns real estate in the state of Pennsylvania, it's imperative that you speak with an estate planning attorney to be able to make sure all of the inheritance provisions are provided for. Our office in Montrose is open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30, and we are always eager to help.
Okay, Rachel, thank you so much for all that information.
Thank you.
Of course.